This next story proves that we're all fucked. In particular, Corin from Kyle and Corin is fucked, and maybe to a slightly lesser degree myself. Study finds bad diets kill more people than smoking globally. Oh boy. Now, I've been eating okay recently. It's not great, but it's not that bad. Corin has said, I'm going to eat good starting after the tour that we did where we went to each fast food place. But no, he's still eating like shit. So I hope everybody's paying attention here. If you're in the same group as me and Corin, which I doubt many of you are, a lot of you guys probably eat pretty well. The study published Wednesday in the journal Lancet examined people's eating habits from 195 countries to establish a link between diets and death rates. The researchers said they're finding that many diets are low in key nutrients highlight the need for a shift in how people approach their eating habits. Our findings show that suboptimal diet is responsible for more deaths than any other risks globally, including tobacco smoking, highlighting the urgent need for improving human diet across nations, they said. This finding suggests that dietary policies focusing on promoting the intake of components of diet for which current intake is less than the optimal level might have a greater effect than policies only targeting sugar and fat, highlighting the need for a comprehensive food system interventions to promote the production, distribution, and consumption of these foods across nations, they wrote. The study attributed 3 million deaths to diets containing too much sodium, another 3 million to a lack of whole grains, and 2 million more to inadequate amounts of fruit. The largest gaps between current and proper intake levels were observed for nuts and seeds, milk, and whole grains. So, I mean, this is interesting because that's really mind-blowing, isn't it? That 3 million deaths are directly related to diet, and it's killing more people than smoking. I guess one could argue it's hard to quantify that, but I tend to trust the study. I don't know how they went about quantifying it, but it doesn't seem impossible to me that that's the case. And it's interesting that they said this is because people are having too much sodium, and then also they're lacking whole grains and fruit, and so they're just not overall not eating healthy. Now, the thing is, I don't know how to address this because there's no way you could do it from the top down. I don't think there's any way the government can or even should get involved in this kind of stuff. I mean, I guess they can, but that's going to lead to such a fierce backlash, and I would even be part of that backlash. Like, I always want the option to have a burger and fries or to have whatever the fuck I want that's not good for me. But it's just, this is one of those instances where my libertarian side beats my leftist side. And I say, listen, I'm going to make the decision, and even if I make the wrong decision, that's my business. But yes, I should make the right decision, and there should be education, and people should know exactly what the healthy stuff is. And there is kind of like a lack of education on that front, but even if you have more education on that front, I don't know if that'll necessarily correlate to people eating better. I think at this point, like, a shitty diet is so embedded in the culture of America that I don't know what to do about that. I don't know. You can't do it top-down government style. Look what happened when Michelle Obama, all she did as a First Lady initiative was, like, promote healthy eating in schools. And there was a giant backlash to that. And it's like, well, all she's saying is obvious shit. Like, hey, fruits are good, vegetables are good. And people are like, oh, how could you with your big government bullshit? But that's not bullshit. It's actually totally true. So if there was a backlash to that, imagine if there was actually some sort of attempt to control top-down, like, what you can buy and how much of certain things you could buy. I'm just against that. But there does need to be some sort of a cultural shift in terms of how people eat, especially in the U.S. Because if you look at, like, the Mediterranean diet, for example, that's overwhelmingly viewed as massively healthy, and people in certain areas that are eating fresh foods and, like, they're living a lot longer and they have more active lifestyles. Here in the U.S., we have very sedentary lifestyles because we're all sitting behind office desks, and we also are fucking high on fast food because it's so easy to get, and, you know, it's just so simple. I mean, would I be in favor of, like, tweaks around the edges to make the shitty food slightly less shitty? Maybe. I could see that. But beyond that, I wouldn't go any further. I really do think this is one of those issues where it does come down to personal responsibility, and then even if you fail on that front, that's your business, you know? And some will say that's cold. Some will say that won't fix the problem. To which I respond, you could be right about both those things. Maybe it is cold, and maybe it doesn't solve the problem. But I value the freedom to make those wrong decisions more than I value the positive outcomes of making the right decisions, if that makes sense. But that doesn't mean I wish bad on people and I want them to eat shitty. I hope everybody gets their shit together and eats better, but that's on them. In the same way it's on me now. You think I'm not in the struggle? Look, I grew up, I was fed fast food as a kid, and then at a certain point you get addicted to it, and we all end up like Trump, where he's eating Wendy's, and he's like, this is the best fucking thing ever. And I'm like, damn right, it's the best thing ever. So, yeah, I don't know. I guess I could blame my mom. Like, why'd you get me hooked on this shit when I was a kid, and now it's hard to get off of it? But, yeah, it really does come down to, you. And because the stuff is there. You could argue, like, hey, there's some pesticides on certain fruits and that should be fixed. Okay, fair enough. Like, there are other problems, sure. But generally speaking, you can get vegetables, you can get fruits, you can get whole grains, you could eat healthy. It's just most people are choosing not to. Some of it for cultural reasons, some of it just for taste. I get it fully, man. But I don't know what to do about this. I'm not denying the results of the study. I think it's true. I just don't know what to do about it. So we're in a weird place where it's like, oh shit, eating is worse for you than smoking. And what are we supposed to do? I don't know. Again, I'm not in favor of a top-down solution because that's too authoritarian. That's too big government-y for me. Can't do that. But I guess the only solution, and it might not even necessarily help, is just better education for people so they know the deal. Like, hey, by the way, if you eat this, you're probably going to die young. Okay. I'm with that. I'm all for facts and information. So teach people, like, no, seriously, this, not good. You're not going to want it. It's going to fuck you up. Like, you could do that. I'm for that completely. But no, like, laws regulating, because who doesn't want on for a cheat meal or something, you get a fucking, just that meal right there, bro. You kidding me? House that shit. I'd eat 2 of those burgers and those fries. I don't fuck around, dog. But anyway, 3 million. Eating shitty food is worse for you than smoking.